I think the top 1 craze is finally ended right now. Society has been placed for a bit and we've all calmed down now, and I think it's pretty obvious that besides the Zoink in the room, we won't be seeing any society victors for a long time, considering levels like Thinking Space 2 and Amethyst have still yet to gain a victor besides the Zoink and the Wpopoff. But I think it is important for us to talk about the progress being made on these levels, because it is genuinely really interesting. I know levels like Thinking Space 2 and Amethyst aren't top 1 now, but I think we should be highlighting these levels' progress, because this is like the last step before the top 1, and this is where all of our actual top players are at skill-wise. Obviously, Zoink and Wpopoff, like the robots, they're in their own separate category, but when it comes to most of the top player's skill, it lies at being able to complete these levels. I specifically want to be talking about Thinking Space 2 here for this video, because Amethyst I've covered a bunch, and 2 people that are making progress on Amethyst, either A, I've already made a short about one of them, or B, I don't really want to talk about the other person. So we're going to be covering Thinking Space 2. And I think this is the more interesting of the 2 right now anyways, because we're actually seeing a battle between 2 people who are both very close to beating the level, if not like one of them could beat the level any day at this point. And there is another person who's also been making major progress on Thinking Space 2, but we'll get to that person later on. But I do want to just give my thoughts here on who is going to beat Thinking Space 2 first, because I still think it is very interesting. You know, a couple days ago, this was the hardest level in the game, right? So I think it is still of a major talking point. Editing being here, I do just want to say that I think a couple times in this video, I do say that these top players are going to be the first victor of Thinking Space 2. Whenever I say that, I mean first recent victor, because, like, obviously, yes, Wpopoff is the first victor, but he is so above everyone else, and he did that so long ago that, in my mind, and I'm sure a lot of other people's, he doesn't really count. I mean, he does, obviously, but I'm just meaning recent victors when I talk about this, right? I just mean the most recent first victor. And the first person we're gonna talk about is Trick. Now, Trick, as everyone knows, was originally a top 1 player. He was above Zoink 3 times, I believe. However, a while ago, he did take a break. He made a video saying he was retiring from top play. Obviously, he did come back now and again for a level to complete if he found it interesting, but he pretty much stopped playing GD competitively for just the sole purpose of being on the stats viewer. Obviously, he would play the game for stuff like TCD and for his own enjoyment, but yeah, he pretty much gave up. However, recently, Trick has actually been making a return. Now, Trick used to have major progress on these top 1s. He was the original person that was going to be Amethyst, and then after that, he picked up Thinking Space 2 7 months ago, and he started the grind. As you can see, he was really competitive with it. He was really engaged in playing this level. He did a bunch of streams, and he was getting close to beating it. And this was less than half a year after the level had been released, so it was semi-recent for the time, so this was going to be a major event. However, it was clear that it was getting to him in his streams, and so he stopped playing. He just gave up. And you can tell here, we went from 6 months ago to the last stream to 6 days ago. But then, as you can see, he recently came back. We've been seeing some progress on him with Thinking Space 2 again. And for the last couple days, he's just been kind of getting into the flow of the level again. He's been streaming here, and I think on Twitch, and he's been getting massive attention for it. RobTop even joined his stream and raided the Bloop and Society, like, on stream, which was crazy. However, the reason we're going to talk about him first is because he has made even more progress. And we can see that Trick has gotten 86% on Thinking Space 2, which is right at the end of the level. Now, despite how close he already was to beating the level, this is very much expected, right? The level is very, very second half carried. You see a lot of people making progress in the 50s on Thinking Space 2, and then they kind of see 70 to 100 as a massive run, right? So this is to be expected here. Zoink even died to the last click, right? We could even see that from Trick. But this proves that he got back into the flow very quickly. And again, I'll tell you who I think will beat the level first at the end of the video. However, out of the current people playing Thinking Space 2, Trick has had the most explosive progress, right? He may be a bit behind because, you know, he kind of quit for a while. He needed to regain his footing with the level, but in just a couple days, he's already back to where everyone else is. 86% is a crazy run, so there's a very good chance that he beats it first. And again, since we're in the late 80s now, coming into the end of the level, any day now we can see a completion. It is sad that all this progress is happening right as it got moved to 2, and we're not seeing progress on a new top 1, because the last time we saw people actually beat the top 1 level when it was top 1 that isn't just Zoink and Wpopoff was like Tidal Wave, which is 2 top 1s ago now, 3 if you count Amethyst. So yeah, it's pretty sad to see, but still amazing to see, right? 86%. And the next contender is A6. A6 is a top player. You probably know him for his Vehemence progress. He has been trying to verify that as the top 1. I don't know if it's still top 1 now that Society's out. I think it's still harder. I'm pretty sure the overwhelming majority say it's top 1 still. And he's done stuff like Subsuming Vortex and other levels. He's a really good player. And as you can see, recently he has been posting his progress, with 2 days ago getting 46 to 100, and then 21 hours ago getting 81%. And he's been streaming this for around 2 weeks. So he also is closing on getting first victor, right? He is also in the 80s now, and he is a top player. I would still say he's worse than Trick. A lot of people probably say he's better now, and they call Trick washed. But if this shows anything, I think Trick still, even though he hasn't played in ages, is a top 3 player. I still think he's third best, even though a lot of people will disagree now, and fair enough, you do have evidence to support it. But he's still got it in him, which is crazy. But yeah, this is going to be a very close race, because I know the ending is the hardest part, but there isn't much more level left now. Literally any of these guys could just fluke it. Now, if A6 beats it, we're actually in a pretty weird situation, because if you remember recently, all the Russians just vanished from the list. They took themselves off, and ever since then, the list keeps getting DDoSed. So yeah, if he becomes the first real victor, obviously Wpopoff and Zoink, right, they're the first victors technically, but if he actually ends up beating this, then it means that we will actually see someone beat it who isn't on the list, which is going to probably make a lot of people get annoyed, because some people really care about list points and just seeing it on the stats viewer. Right, that notification just interrupted my speaking. But yeah, personally, I do think it's a bit weird why they left the stats viewer, because, you know, like, how is the stats viewer affecting anything here? There was a lot of other more important communities you could have quit that shows your link to the English-speaking community. This just kind of ruins a lot of people's assessment on skill for no reason. But let's just ignore that, because that isn't the topic that we're on right now. Anyways, yeah, he is also very close to doing this. And there's also Netermind, but I've left him to last because I don't even know if he's playing the level now. You guys can correct me in the comments if he is playing the level still. I don't actually know. However, from what I can tell, he has dropped it. Netermind, in a lot of people's minds, is the current third best player above Trick, and he's been getting progress on this for months. We saw here 62%, then 65, and then 67, and then 85, and then 89%. He is closer than anyone to doing this, and if we go to his live stream, you can see that 8 days ago was his last stream. And he has been very consistent with this. This is a lot of live streams here, right? Ton of them. But as you can see, 8 days ago is a while ago. It's less consistent, and that is because I believe he's quit playing the level because of this newest video he posted. He basically talked about his future plans for beating levels, and he said that he really only cares about beating the top 1 now. He dropped Penumbral, and he wants to, you know, beat the top 1 level. So he is just going to grind whatever level is placed at number 1 on the demon list until he's actually beaten the top 1. And as you guys know, Society is now number 1 on the list, which means that Thinking Space 2 is no longer the top 1. So if what he says in that video is true, then he had no reason to actually continue playing this level, right? He was basically just playing it until it got placed on the list or got rated, and now that it is, it's not top 1, so he has no reason to play it. Which is kind of sad to see, because he had major progress, but, you know, I mean, what can you do? Like, it is sad, but, I mean, if that's what he wants to do with his career, then go ahead. So who do I think is going to be the first person to beat it? Now, obviously, because of what I've said, my third place pick is still Netermind. Now, even if Netermind was still playing the level, I still think I would put him at third, just because everyone else has been getting really, really quick progress really fast now, and Netermind's been stuck here for a while. Ever since the 89 death, he's been stuck there for 2 months, so it makes sense that he would probably lose the race now, considering how close everyone is. Next up, I have A6. 2 weeks ago, he had 74, and in between that and now, he has been able to get 81, so it's clear he is progressing fast. But I have him below Trick because he just isn't doing it at the same pace. There could be a fluke, right? He could fluke the level, and then he ends up being the first victor. I'm saying first victor in asterisks, because, like, Zoink and Wpopoff aren't human. But, yeah. Still, it is kind of crazy to see his progress, but I do think he is going to come second here. And then my washed gambling goat is going to be number 1. I think he's going to easily beat this first. If he doesn't drop it again, okay? But considering that he hadn't played the level for half a year, pretty much, I'm pretty sure he played it, like, small amounts in between them, but not really seriously. But in the past 4 days, going from not playing it at all to getting a new best for 86%, it just seems like the stars are aligned for him to do it first, right? I don't see a world where he doesn't, unless he quits the level, which, knowing this guy's past traditions, that is a very high possibility. However, I'm going to take his word for it. He is going to finish this off, and I think that he will become the first quote-unquote victor minus the robots. But that is all I have to talk about for now. It is kind of sad that Thinking Space 2 isn't top 1, because this would be a much more hyped conversation if it was still the top 1 level, but now we have Society. But I do think we're going to see a lot of people try and play Society. I think we are going to see progress on it soon. I don't think our first victor besides Zoink will be for a long while, however I do think you should look out for progress on Society. On paper, it isn't an approachable level, but every top 1 ends up having some stupid jumpers, so it'll be cool to see the progress. And if people can get Eternus down to just a couple runs, then anyone can do anything in this game, I swear. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thanks for watching all the way through, and peace.